Aloha. I wanted to do a video and on kind of expand from dreams and kind of the space that is bigger than and all inclusive of the flat earth, the Mandela effect, all of the stuff that exists in here, all the stuff we talking about, legal name change and the birth certificate, contracts, and that whole Admiralty maritime laws, and that whole system exists within the physical reality. So I wanted to go into a space that is beyond the physical reality to anchor our power centers, our willpower, our understandings from a higher, like literally expand outside the level of consciousness that created the space that we exist within now, within the control grid. So everything that we're talking about is in relation to NASA and the flat earth and the Mandela effect and CERN and all this other stuff. All these things are symptoms. They are symptoms within a reality. Nobody is talking about the cancer of the reality itself. And in order to understand what the cancer of the reality is, we have to understand what the cancer is attached to. See, we think that the cancer of this reality, on some level, like I thought it was back in 2011, the cancer for me was bankers and the whole like Illuminati, that whole sort of thing. Like 5 years ago, that was my idea of what the cancer of our reality was. This is why I jumped into the Occupy movement, to let people know, hey, you know, this is going on, you know, this is what's out there. And then you realize how all of this stuff exists within a system, and then you see the bigger system, and then jump into another space and see the bigger system, and jump into another space and see the bigger system. Meanwhile, these systems of orchestration and control measures just evolve along with your linear engagement in the space, instead of expanding outside of the space to understand the space as a whole and and come from a space of, you know, total empowerment. So our names still exist within the physical reality. The flat earth itself, the rocks, the water, the everything, that the homes, the everything still exists within the physical reality. The politics on side, that exists like 10 layers down away from our dream space. And I wanted to just focus on where we come from and kind of like throw together a theory or philosophize on a moment of how we are coming from a space of seeing the sky as water and the stars as a vibration of light, and us as a vibration of light, a solid state version of light, just like ice is a solid state version of water. The stars being like a beyond the light speed, or within the, like the introduction to the beyond the light speed representation, how we envision what light speed would be, because like the sun is like an infinite source of energy. It's an infinite light source, energy source that is so vibrant it can create an energy that other life forms can expand upon and grow upon, and create a system, or at least the energy for a system to expand its own level of consciousness and evolve in its own style. And within this, we have the science and the university system that has been designed to tell us what we are, down to the so-called microscopic or atomic level of that. But we are more complicated than even anything that still exists in the physical reality. So what is beyond that, which is why I come from the perspective of dreams a lot, and leave it to leave it to the openness of understanding and allow the information to come in on its own, and seeing that like the basic forms of our relationship to this waking state experience is basically how I was explaining in the previous video about water stars and energy in motion, the emotion of it all, and how emotional we are when we experience this reality, and how everybody says, or a lot of people say that, oh, it's all about love. Love is the answer to everything. And then you got destructive people who are more focused on fear and amplifying fear within this reality to control creator beings. So there's this positive and negative frequency that's existing within this reality that some understand as duality and call it that. And this is all part of it too, the on and off structure of energies and how that all works together, the yin and the yang. But we also have the electrical and magnetic relationship that's also a part of us too. So we have the electrical charges of our brain, the electrical charge that is our heartbeat. We have the magnetics of interacting with each other, the magnetics of intuition and synchronicity as a whole. So we have energy in motion, conscious energy in motion, and this vessel is kind of like this prism of that is receiving the light that is connected to our dreams initially. And through this prism experience, the relationship that the human vessel has with the earth plane experience of the physical reality, it needs to split itself into various versions of energy in order to have an experience that is beyond just black and white, an experience that is beyond just a gray version of reality that will continually expand upon itself through consciousness and questioning, imagination, creativity, which is why the control grid is so hard on beating everything down and graying everything out and creating politics and all these sub-level versions of science and physics, and keeping you in this space of dumbed down version of your reality, while the controllers keep all the so-called answers to your existence as a whole, and they muddy it down with spreading religion and that sub-level version of your interaction with your source of energy, your creator energy, and then kind of like make it so it's a bad guy in a sense to where you won't even venture in that space if you don't because it's so murky. Then you have the science community where you need money to get in there. Well, money exists on the first physical reality too, but you need money to even study even further. But my main point being is the splitting of this heartbeat, infinite light energy within this vessel that is creating a space of experience that we can relate to, or see a more complicated, a complex version of our expressions. And when you go into the chakra centers and how we are built up of these various layers of energy and vortices and wheels of energy that are spinning and working all together like a motor or an engine of some sort within this vessel, you can see that once it's activated to its full potential, then you can see beyond this physical reality and understand beyond the physical reality, which was the intent of the entire experience itself. So within the flat earth community to focus only on the dome as a physical dome, and to focus only on the flat earth in relation to the lie that is the globe, and NASA, the assholes there, and to focus only on that is to approach this entire experience from a linear perspective, which is why I believe that this is being released on the orchestrated version, and with the United Nations having a flat Earth flag on, or flat Earth map on their flag, and Neil deGrasse Tyson dropping the mic on Larry Wilmore's show talking about, this is gravity, because they have to defend these demigods like Einstein and Newton and Copernicus that they've put out in front of us to worship as our creators. When they create these theories of limitation, we are in a sense limiting our creative potential to their reality they've created for us, and we have become their energetic batteries. Yeah, we're their batteries in a sense. So when we start to tap into the roots and the sacral, the navel, the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown, and we start to activate all this space beyond, then we can see that like in these prime functions, that most of this stuff is emotions. So you have love and compassion in the heart, and creativity, speech, articulation, forgiveness, warmth, self-esteem, energy, self-control, relationships. This is all emotions. It's all energy in motion. So this is kind of like the human version of what the basic version of the physical reality light experience is based upon. And when we go into our dream space, we are accessing the higher chakras that are even outside of just these 7 chakras, because there's the higher chakras into like the 12 and the 13 and beyond that exists outside of just what's within here. And I haven't ventured into that space yet as much as some other people have, but I know that it exists, because I know that we are not just limited just to this this human experience perspective of this reality. We have the potential to experience further and dream further, and so however many there are that are out there, there's all kinds of different versions of this perspective. But I really wanted to I focus my energy mostly on the 7 chakras, because the majority of people right now are either within the space of understanding the chakra space, or either at the cusp of it, or understanding energy as something beyond just metals in the periodic table of elements, and electricity and magnets and magnetism and all that stuff. We are starting to see more and more that there is something more to our relationship to this experience. And dreams is an easy space to go into, because everybody dreams, whether you remember them or not. Everybody is dreaming, and everybody can tap into that space and get this energy. So there is a harmonic that exists that allows us to tap into the space beyond, definitely beyond the control grid that is placed in front of us, like the politics and all this stuff. In fact, that is placed in front of us to hoard our energy, our emotion, our energy in motion. Our emotions are tethered, limited, and focused and conditioned to feel and act and think a certain way, both in our conscious and subconscious states. When we look at these politicians, when we look at these television shows, these movies, all this stuff is designed for us to manipulate or program our emotions to act and feel and think a certain way. Not necessarily how I'm seeing it, is more focused on our dreams. Because if they separate us from they separate us from our dreams, because we're the ones that are actually doing this to ourselves, then if we separate ourselves from our dreams, like the TV is just like the TV version of how deep this story really goes. Because if we see the TV version of separating us from our full potential on the human experience as just like creating some kind of harmonics within the resources on this planet, and feeding and clothing and sheltering everybody on this planet, free energy and all that, that's cool, but that's one layer, also just one layer of our experience, and it's like the basic layer that should have already been happening here in the first place, which would be happening if the controllers and the control grid hadn't installed the psychology, the control grid that was within the television itself. So these are like, these colors on here are like the like how our chakras are being programmed. It's all out of whack and out of balance, just like the 440 hertz frequency of our music instead of 432 has been programmed by the Nazis back in the day. So it keeps us in this kind of emotional, out of balance space. So we are affected by our surroundings in every way, not to just vote a certain way, not to just go get a job a certain way or put your money a certain place and do all this other stuff. But how I'm seeing it more is to affect our dreams and our understanding with our reality as a whole. If you're sleeping 8 hours a day, that's a third of your reality that is being shut down from your experience and your healing space, your interactive space, and beyond. And that's a creative space and a creative connection that is being manipulated to vibrate on a lower frequency because of the physical reality frequency that has been conditioned on a regular basis. So if we see like channelers, like for example, Bashar is the 700 years in the future version of Daryl Anka, then the TV version, the physical reality version, is like your version of Daryl Anka, and then your dream space is like your channel. So your channel is your future or infinite space, in a sense, that you have a window into every night, and you can have that relationship with your allness space every night and shift and adjust your future, in a sense, and your past by understanding it differently, and your present moments by making that relationship. And if you can do that individually, then what do we think could happen if we start to do that collectively? If we start to make that relationship get back to its natural space again, without having it be compromised by a control grid, which is why I'm thinking that these television shows, like all the alien agenda stuff, all this stuff is just to get you to program yourself within an artificial reality, so you can live and experience that artificial reality even in your dream space. Like I said in previous videos, there's people that have dreams about going to work. Now that's really jacked up. Like, to have to go to sleep and then wake up from a dream where you are at work. It's really messed up. And all of this is about emotions, energy in motion. So to have our idea of the stars be given to us by NASA, by the university system, and say, this is out there, we are exploring out there, it separates us from our connection of that reality. So we are literally blacked out of understanding and experiencing our connection to ancestors, light as a whole, energy as a whole, emotion as a whole, the sun and the moon, and that whole purpose and meaning. When they talk about the Big Bang as your reality, then your whole purpose and meaning connected to a creator source is just shut down. So you personally have no purpose and meaning, and then you have no reason to dream anymore, or at least go into that space, which is why substances like or connections with plants like the cannabis plant and mushrooms and all these other places, and ayahuasca, where shaman take you into this journey so you can see that space that is you beyond the constructs of a broken down control grid reality that has been you can see beyond just this triangle version of the single light source, the experience, and the experiencer. You can see beyond that space into the higher chakras, and even go into that space and heal that space. So if you can do that when you're in psychedelic spaces or wherever, however you go there, then we are also doing that every night when we travel in that space. And if we turn it off, because we have been conditioned to turn it off, and replace it with work dreams, going to Home Depot dreams, and yeah, all that shit, then then we are yeah, it's a trip. So I didn't even really get to what I really wanted to talk about. Like, this is so basically I was seeing as energy as a whole, and crystals being like quartz. Quartz is not like a solid state thing. It's moving, it's alive, it's a vibration. So we are like a quartz, a complicated quartz crystal that also has the intelligence and creative space and consciousness to expand our reality, and also be the caretakers of a reality, and like take care of plants, take care of animals, take care of each other, birth other creators that will also take care of a space. So we are, in a sense, taking care of consciousness, and we have replaced that responsibility to we have replaced it with fear and a control grid, so we can have masters who provide us our reality for us. But it's obsolete, it's broken, it's meant to be broken so we can be broken. And then these lazy ass low vibrating destructive beings or entities can create like a McDonald's version of our reality, which is the university system and NASA, in order to keep us from working our muscles, our consciousness muscles, beyond this reality. And this goes into how this is the symptoms of, this is why the symptoms of this cancer that is the lack of understanding, the lack of consciousness of the flat earth and the Mandela effect, and only talking about like the side effects. You're only talking about, if you're talking about only like, oh well, how did your parents think of this, and what kind of Mandela effect did you see, and all this other stuff. These are all side effects to symptoms to a reality. And in order to activate the full potential of this reality, we have to see what reality we're really trying to experience. So how I'm seeing it now is that we are actually the living, walking versions in the physical reality of consciousness that is experiencing itself beyond the speed of light. Like that moment that's on and off, on and off, on and off, that is time. Physical reality, the flicker rates of a television to see an image on a television. So it's just sped up so you can see a picture or a movie. So we are the living versions of that, and we are the intelligent space that experiences itself as the speed of light. And then when we go into our star space, we are beyond the speed of light, and those are the stars are like the anchors that we leave here, and the emotional anchors of our reality. That's why we say when you look in the stars, those are your ancestors, because that's the single light state version of what you feel in your heart. Like when you're talking about emotion, when you think about, like when you recall your grandmother who's passed, or your grandfather who's passed, or whoever has passed, like you go into a space of emotion to bring back that reality, and then you can feel them again. You can close your eyes and understand like who they were, where they were. You can smell something that brings back an emotion. And I was explaining to my mom earlier about the dream space and being able to recall your dreams and having to make a relationship with your waking state emotional space that is beyond just the egoic versions of our reality, like tapping into the spaces of compassion, tapping into the spaces of beyond the linear perspective of our reality, to tap into the emotional memory, because you can understand smells trigger memory, and that's one of the deepest ways to remember something is to tap into a smell. But the smell is bringing an emotion, and what I've been realizing in my dreams is how I remember my dreams a lot is because I'm emotionally engaged in my dreams, in a sense, just like I'm emotionally engaged in my conscious space, not in an overwhelming space, but just in an awareness space, to where you can understand that there is an emotional memory grid that is there. And if, when I'm trying to remember my dreams in the morning, all I'm doing now, and I just kind of found this out recently, is I feel like, how was I feeling, just like a few seconds ago, and then I'll go into that dream, and then I'll go into the dream, well, how did I feel before that dream? How did I feel before that dream? And then that's how I can go into all the dreams there, because I'm tapping into the emotional space that led up to those dreams. And the more tapped in you are to your variations, your colors of dreams or emotions, the more you can see the colors. So you can see the sacral version, or feel it even more. If because I said this before in other videos, of like, we have dreams that are focused on particular rays of light or chakra energies or whatever. We have those to go and heal our chakra space. So you can have like a heart chakra dream experience, or you can have like a sacral chakra dream in order to heal that space, or in order to expand that space, or understand something. And that's based on energetic motion, or energy in motion, or emotion. So if you want to remember your dreams, you can go into your emotional space and the more, like I said, the more tapped in you are to your emotions on a purely experiential harmonic version in your waking space, the more anchors that you will have to tap into your emotions and remember your dreams in your dream space. And then you'll be able to remember it more, like works in itself to be able to do that over and over again. So this is why I'm thinking even more that the whole design of the television and the control grid and the separation from your source and the separation from each other and understanding yourself is because it's trying to separate you from your understanding of energy and tap in through emotion, and separate you from your dreams through emotion and versions of low vibration emotions that actually run counter to the natural spin of your chakras, and keeps you from experiencing that reality as a whole. And then I wanted to go into seeing how the basicness of our setup, how we are like this density as a whole, the solid state version of an understanding outside of gravity, the space of how light is existing within us, and we are existing beyond that, and how the science community creates these these little pieces of understanding, just like television shows, all those alien shows. They try to act like they know what's up. They don't know what the hell is going on. on purpose, because they want you to also not know what the hell is going on. So they only end on theories upon theories upon theories, never giving you any answers, to keep you vesting your energy in these owners and this artificial master control grid, to have them create your reality for you. So they tell you about aliens, they tell you about the stars, they tell you about the sun and the moon, they tell you about your blood and your genes and your infinite space, and they tell you about all this stuff. And basically, you are a completely spiritually codependent being, whether you can be the most spiritual whatever, and if you are still waiting on the university system or a flat earth community or the or whatever, something outside of yourself to give you the answers for who and what you are, then you are still existing in a side space of your reality. You're existing outside of your maximum potential, which is at the foundation of why this whole grid is set up the way it is, to separate everybody. So I'll end it on this video right now, because this is one of the videos that came to my mind when I was thinking about the sky, the stars, and all that being water, and its connection to light and energy and emotion and our spark that we have, and how we are just like the vessel is basically based upon pressure, which is why I recommend watching this video to understand like pressure, and then balancing out within pressure, because within this dome or whatever this experiential plane of Earth is, there's a pressure definitely involved with just like in water, you can float in water. And then air is basically water, but it's just like a gaseous version of water. We are basically all water, and we exist within a pressurized system that doesn't need to have a jacked up artificial definition of gravity to tell you what this experience is about. That definition of gravity and that law of gravity is to keep you in the control grid of anchoring your reality in the university system and giving all your power away to other people. This is why those theories come up. So this video, if you watch it, basically shows you how you are not susceptible to gravity as it's defined, but you are actually a dense vessel that is within a plane of existence that is subject to pressure, and the pressure of just like diamonds are formed under high pressure. So we are experiencing within this version of the earth plane experience pressure grid, and then in that space it involves sound and vibrating sound to bring through pressure to bring about your frequency. And then you have magnetics and electricity as like the duality. Then you have the emotional space of fear and love as the extremes of the duality space, and then your choice, your soul experience is now you have with light, magnetics, electricity, emotional pressure, and sound, and all the other stuff that it's involved in this physical reality. You have now a place for this star energy or that soul spark. You have a place for your soul, which is this individual light, to experience through this prism and learn itself and heal itself within these various rays of energy that we call the physical reality and the heart and the chakras as a whole. So my how is relating that to how to give some kind of like proof or whatever from the science community is sololuminescence, which they say they can't understand. I was like, oh yeah, we don't know what it's all about. We can show it. Like, this is all bullshit. They know exactly what this is all about, because this has been existing for a lot longer.
The bastal and mantis shrimps are both crustaceans that snap their claws and perform magic. The jet of water
So they call it
out
magic.
between their claws travels at such speeds that it cavitates. That is, the liquid water under negative pressure is literally pulled apart into bubbles of water vapor. When the bubbles collapse in on themselves, they give off a loud snap, and amazingly, a small flash of light. The shrimp use the sonic shockwave to stun or kill prey, but physicists are far more interested in the flash, because we still don't exactly know how it happens. Collapsing bubbles can also...
So as long as they don't know stuff and they're supposed to be these super smart physicists, they keep you in a state of limbo and not being able to understand your reality or understand your anything as a whole. So if they don't even understand like the basics of this, did this make sense to me? They're just telling you they don't understand, but this makes sense. As far as the relationship, or people talking about how stars, the space is water and the stars are it's all water, and how the light can be created. And so these sparks like that these shrimp make, or whatever they are make, then it's how the relationship between pressure, electricity, light, magnetics, and that whole space creates like a version
be created in the laboratory simply by using sound.
Of different versions of energy.
As we know, is basically just molecules repeatedly pushing against each other. And
these are frequencies.
If the sound waves are intense enough, the low pressure will again be low enough to pull the liquid.
So the human vessel is a frequency.
Bubbles. The bubbles then collapse, and under certain circumstances, they produce light even brighter than the shrimp. This phenomenon
we're like
of turning sound into light
collapsed stars.
We know that the light flashes are incredibly short, lasting.
This is why I say we are like beyond. We are the speed of light in a human vessel. Like your imagination, your creative space.
We don't know for sure, though, how the inside of the bubble gets that hot.
Your imagination and your creative space is the speed of light. Experience in itself, like that space beyond experience in itself. At least the vessel is, and your soul is the experiencer, and the experience is the vessel. And then this is the science of light, energy, experiencing itself as and healing itself and expanding consciousness.
Or what exactly is giving off the light? The bubble collapses so quickly that the gases inside are heated by compression, but the increased pressure might also cause water vapor in the bubble to rapidly condense back to a liquid, releasing large amounts of...
So this is just a relationship between the solid, light, and gas state and all this stuff. So the trick is science and physicists, they focus on like the symptoms, they focus on just this mathematic, scientific version of what it is, instead of understanding how it involves our whole creative process as a whole. So this is the scientific infinity that we are trapped in when we give our power away to this artificial version of understanding your reality, which is the university system, when they create your universe for you. So as long as they don't know, then we are stuck in limbo, which is what's happening.
Tearing water vapor apart into hydroxide and hydrogen ions, which then recombine.
That's all it is. Never giving you any answers, it's just theories upon theories. Just or, never really.
Despite being fairly simple to create. I mean, you can buy a basic sonoluminescence kit off the internet, or you can just get a pet mantis shrimp.
Yeah, see, they just ended on all this, on all these fake versions of your reality, and then give you little crumbs of understanding your reality, like sonoluminescence, and then just wait for them to come up with the answers in the future. That's basically, yeah. So, yeah, we were like relinquishing our collective experience to these scientists in this university system through the control grid of the emotion, the emotional reality as a whole. So I just wanted to kind of throw all this together and expand upon like the space beyond all those other symptoms of the Mandela effect, flat earth, and all that other stuff, and start going into the what this place really is and all that. So I'll leave it there. And thank you for joining me. Until next time, peace, love, and harmony.